Welcome back to week 2, and today we're going to be talking about solitude again. Solitude's the creation of an open, empty space in our lives by purposely abstaining from interaction with other human beings, so that freed from competing loyalties, we can be found by God. Through the unhealthy accumulation of auditory input, loud noises, and constant data, one researcher concluded this, quote, "Noise kills. Excessive input does real damage. Information overload clogs our ability to function effectively." One study in the UK showed the effect that noise has on people at work, let's say in a mill or a factory, somewhere where there are loud noises constantly. We must understand the risk assessment for noise. Noise can lead to accidents by sometimes making it harder for workers to hear and correctly understand what others are saying, as well as signals, by masking the sound of approaching danger or warning, by distracting workers such as drivers who are driving trucks or big vehicles, contributing to work-related stress. These noises increase the cognitive load, increasing the likelihood of errors. These effects of noise can be applied to our spiritual lives as well. You know, how noise affects worker stress is very complex. The nature of the noise, for instance, including its volume, its tone, and predictability are factors. Other people talking can be a stressor when tasks require concentration. The worker's occupation, in my case as a musician, can suffer work-related stress because of loud noises in my case. Noise levels that in some circumstances, it might be a contributor to stress, especially when that person is tired. And noise can certainly harm and ultimately kill. Being alone and quiet for others can also be frightening. One scientist found that there are 3 kinds of seclusion. The first kind is simply aloneness, a state of having no one around, physical and communicative seclusion. The second is loneliness, an adverse condition, and it's an emotionally painful state of feeling alone and isolated, feeling estranged, even when not actually physically apart from others. And then the third is solitude, which is a state of voluntary aloneness, during which time personal development and creative activity may occur. The psychiatrist Freud linked solitude with anxiety, stating that with children, the first phobias are connected to life experiences and originate from darkness and solitude. Loneliness is indeed the most obvious risk of aloneness. The very idea of solitude may evoke deep childhood fears of abandonment and neglect and cause some people to rush toward connectedness. But I don't believe that loneliness can be totally banished from life, nor that it should be. Like anxiety or guilt, it's part of the human condition. It tells us that we're not being understood and are perhaps too isolated from community and connection. Surprisingly, it can also tell us that we are not taking time to be in contact with our inner selves, to be alone. Psychology is only just beginning to distinguish aloneness from loneliness. A positive state of solitude, which is a constructive time spent apart from others for the purpose of self-examination, of creativity and exhortation, is what we're talking about here in this course over the next several weeks. Here's one woman's testimony of the power of solitude. She said, "My wake-up call came at a particularly busy time of my life when I rarely had a quiet moment and pushed myself to the point of exhaustion. One day when I was supposed to help a friend decorate for her daughter's wedding, I became dizzy and stayed that way for 3 months. Sometimes it was so debilitating that I couldn't read, watch TV, or hold a conversation. At times I had to lay on my back without turning on either side, or else my world would spin out of control. The only option left was to lie quietly and listen for God's voice, which turned out to be the best option of all. My experience was summed up in Psalm 62, verses 1 through 2, which says, I wait quietly before God, for my victory comes from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress where I will never be shaken. After that experience, she said, I never wanted to live without that kind of stillness again. May we find rest in God and take moments every day to get quiet before him. God bless you.